we've been having such a powerful, genuine, honest conversation. I'm going to cut you on one last one that I know it's just between you and me. You're playing Kang, aren't you?
Everyone thinks that.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Mr. Domingo,
hey,
damn good to see you, man.
Good to see you too,
Genuinely, I think this movie is a masterpiece, and I always tell people I do junkets every single day, and you can't always tell people, honestly, that you love their movies, so sometimes you just go, hey, it got made.
Well, I'm so glad you didn't approach me like that.
And I never have.
Exactly.
Whenever we were walking down the hall together, I said, man, you ever get tired of making good movies, man? Because you always do.
Oh, man.
I'm going to jump into this. You know, one of the things that I love most about this movie is this idea that that art is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, it can hit you the same way. That I can be affected by theater work the same as a person who is behind the walls of a maximum security prison.
Absolutely.
I'm sort of curious, you have been touring this movie around for a while now, dating back to last year at the Toronto Film Festival. What's the most powerful example you've seen of this movie bringing together people from two walks of life who maybe otherwise wouldn't have found each other? Because it does show that art sort of equalizes all of us.
It does, because I think the impact of it. I think when you meet a young man outside of a screening and he says, you helped me really sort of like understand my father a bit more. You gave me, I feel like I'm healing a bit more. I'm more empathetic to his plight because he was able to witness this in story. You know what I mean? So I feel like we all need that. We need to go into a dark room and unpack story together in a place that feels safe, in a place where you feel like, oh, I can actually deal with these feelings and find a path forward in some way. So I feel like it's available to all of us. I'm always telling students whenever I would teach, I would say, you know, no one can tell you not to create. That is one gift that you have. You can always create from wherever you are. And I feel like the idea that people were creating pathways for their sort of liberation of their souls in a maximum security prison with a program called RTA. I got mine by, you know, working in theaters, you know, for many years. But I feel like it is the same. It is very much more similar than dissimilar.
I want to talk about RTA because in the film you're working with actors who went through that program.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a multi-level question, but I want to talk about bringing them back inside the walls of a prison. That could not have been easy for them. And really I feel like the easy question is, you know, what lessons they learned from a professional actor, but I'd love to know what lessons all actors in Hollywood could learn from them.
I think there's always an exchange with any actor. You know what I mean? So I feel like you have to come and build from wherever you are. Look, I've worked from actors with very different experiences. Very seasoned, come from the stage, come from just television, come from the circus, you name it. But you come together, you build sort of what's called a brain trust. And you're like, oh no, this is what we're going to do for this production. This is the level of acting, this is the level of skill, the level of exploration. And so you find that. And you know, these guys coming in, the thing that I understood early on was that they had training, that they were trained and they respected the work, because it's not work that they could easily access either. To get into the program at RTA, they had to have no infractions on their record for a solid year.
Oh, wow.
So that means they had to do the work to get into it. You know what I mean? And they're bringing a lot of their life experience into the film, which is awesome because they're playing versions of themselves when they were younger. But then they sort of, you know, I'm sure they learned from me, like, listen, I'm the leader on the set. I'm the executive producer, and I want to make sure that they're sort of like following my lead, because many of them have never been on a film set before. So I wanted to show them how to be with, you know, above and below the line talent. How do you get the work done? How do you get the work done from take to take, from a wide to a mid to a close up? And they were watching me, and if they needed any help, I would offer some gently and respectfully, but I feel like I would do as a teacher. And also what I learned from them is like, yeah, I didn't have to do, my research was very different for this than most, because I didn't have to look so far outside of myself. I didn't have to do this deep dive into research of the prison industrial complex. There's certain things that I wanted to know, but certain things I feel like I have these guys right here, lived experience. If I don't just take this in, and that I didn't mean observe them, I didn't study them, I just like sort of listened to the way they told story, the way they told me about them and who they are now and what they're attempting to do, because I thought that was important. So they taught me a lot and I taught them a lot. It was a beautiful exchange.
An extension of that, was it just recently you guys did the screening at Rikers?
Yeah, we did a screening at Rikers and at Sing Sing as well.
So you did one at Sing Sing?
We did.
What is that like? I feel like, you know, you do screenings at film festivals, you do screenings for critics, you do word of mouth screenings, but that kind of screening.
Well, I tell you this. Luckily, I feel like I wasn't there because
Okay.
I feel like I'm the most vulnerable since I'm not part of that community.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I was.
You think you're the one they're going to call out?
Yeah, because I didn't want to be called out because the thing is that even with performance, I wanted to make sure that I folded myself in with these brothers.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, they felt that I was one of them, which was great. They said because it was really. I think many of them felt like they haven't seen themselves in these so-called prison dramas. And I like to always say that this film isn't a prison drama. It's a drama that takes place inside a maximum security prison. But usually, anything anyone has seen, they've seen such violence and all these inhumane things depicted. There's always a riot. There's always, sexual predators, stuff like that. But the idea of seeing someone who's actually trying to be in service to their humanity and the liberation of the fellow brothers, they don't usually see that. So they felt like for the first time, many of them say, for the first time, I saw myself. I saw myself trying to do the work and be rehabilitated and become a member of society and have hope. The idea of having hope in a space like that, it's not all hopeless. That you can carve that out because it is available, but it is also a very thing to do. It's like, I'm going to, better my circumstances so I can be better for my family, for my community, and for the future.
I love that, the hope. And obviously, this is a weird comparison because they're two wildly different films. But this movie, to me, gave me hints of Shawshank in that sort of that what is possible inside those walls, with that film it being friendship and this side being
I think
art
so, but it
way.
also smashes a lot of tropes.
It
that,
does.
I think that
Yes.
Shawshank sort of leans into.
Yes.
This goes, just when you think it's about to go there, we actually pull the rug out.
Yes, exactly right.
I think that's the joy of this film. It's like, you're like, oh wait, a trope is about to happen. Something's bound to happen.
Because I've seen so many movies like this before.
This is the scene where he gets knifed.
Yeah.
Because I know this. I know the playbook. But then we sort of help you. I think we do the work. I think the film is working on the audience the way it's working on us.
Yeah.
And the prisoners that were inside. They were saying, oh no, we can actually be different.
Yeah.
We can think different.
I love that.
There's more possibility.
So much of this movie is about how art has the power to save our lives, no matter who we are, no matter where we're at. What is a moment you would look at in your life and go, art saved me right there?
Well, I can tell you very clearly. I lost my mother on July 25th, 2006. And the day before, I auditioned for a play called Passing Strange, a musical that eventually made its way to Broadway. Now, the musical was about a guy who loses his mother. And for someone who was so tethered to his parents, and I lost my stepfather just 6 months before, it was the thing that I needed to hold on to. It was art. Art was doing everything for me. It was helping me heal, it was helping me see myself, it helped me rethink myself in many ways. It really was like, I don't know honestly what I would have done. I would have been destroyed, gone into some sort of abuse or something. I think I would have. I'm being dead serious. But I think that I knew that it had this art to express what I didn't even know, all these feelings I had inside. And so by the time, but we have it's filmed by Spike Lee, and it's and people can watch it on Amazon or something like that. But you could see there's a moment towards the end where there's a moment of catharsis that I actually had, where we're singing the song saying it's all right. I had to go through this whole process of loss with this production for 3 years, and eventually I was on the other side. And so I know that production saved my life.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Thank you. I'll cut you loose on this. Obviously, here's what I'll tell you. There's a great story that I love. When Jack Nicholson lost the Oscar for Chinatown, someone came up to him that night and said, "Man, you should have won. You were amazing for that." And he said, "Don't worry. I got Cuckoo's Nest next year."
Oh, is that what he said?
That's a true story. I've heard.
Okay.
He's never told me. Obviously, I loved your performance in Rustin. It was a very worthy performance. It didn't take home the gold. Was there a part of you that thought, I got Sing Sing?
I got Cuckoo's Nest next year. But I didn't have Cuckoo's Next.
You got Sing Sing!
You know what, though? What's beautiful, I think it's a great evolution of my work. I can see it objectively, and I say that this is a bit more raw and threadbare of a performance. I'm proud of the work that we've all done. My director, Greg Quidar, I think we delivered a film that we wanted to deliver, which is beautiful. It's resonating with people. It's about the human heart right now and the possibility of what we could be. So if that's something that gets lauded, I say laud it, because we need more of that. Lift that up on high. We need more hope in the world. So, I'm betting on that.
This is the kind of movie where if it doesn't, I just go, What are we doing here?
There we go.
Exactly. That's it.
I got cuckoo's next.
You got cuckoo's next. Exactly right. I want to end my start by saying how much I love you and I respect you. You and I have been doing this for a long time, and I'm going to cut you on one. We've been having such a powerful, genuine, honest conversation. I'm going to cut you on one last one that I know it's just between you and me. You're playing Kang, aren't you?
Everyone thinks that. I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea. I don't know Hollywood. You tell me.
That sounds like the kind of thing that a person playing Kang would say. I love you, man. Thank you so much for always being so kind. I appreciate you, man.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.